that is another reason that qualifies me to talk about this, because I deal with all different kind of personalities every day, and I understand kind of the human condition, the positive people, the negative people, the kind people, the mean people. And trust me, what I do is no different than what you do. There are these people in everything and everywhere that we work, maybe more numbers, maybe less numbers, but they're everywhere. And I've, got to spend the last 22 years of my life working in the pipe and tube facility, dealing with a lot of these different personalities and a lot of these different kind of people. And I've had to learn how to get through to these people. How do you get guys who are maybe more of a negative personality to do something that you need them to do to be productive, to hit efficiency goals? How do you get somebody that's maybe not as ambitious as somebody else, who's not going to go out there and find the things to do to keep himself busy? You have to be able to motivate these people. You can't just say, oh, well, that's a different personality, I just won't talk to that person. You can't do that. You want to be a part of everybody's day. You want to be a positive part of everybody's day. So you need to figure out how to talk to everybody. So now, here I am, this small town guy, 60 miles north of Pittsburgh. I think it's the fourth time I said it. Still not going to tell you where I live, so don't put it in the comments. 22 years at a steel mill, happily married. I have a grown son. He'll be 20 soon. He, like I said, is a member of the United States Navy. So, that's the who. And then the next thing is, what's the next thing in the sequence, honey? It's who, what. It's what. Okay, so it's a podcast, obviously. And it's an audio podcast. It's hopefully going to grow to a video podcast. But more importantly than that, it's a platform that I think I gravitated towards naturally because I have a natural inclination I want to help people. I want people to be their best. And I feel like I have enough life experience, and I've been in enough situations, experienced enough things, failed enough times, succeeded enough times, that I can help people do that. And that is why The What is a podcast. It's a platform for me to try to have a positive impact on people's lives, to, choose kindness, to be a voice for somebody maybe on the ride to work, maybe on a ride home from work. It's just a positive conversation about stuff that you're going to go through. We're going to talk about stuff that is everyday stuff. And it is my way of trying to reach as many people as I can to hopefully have a positive, a little piece of your day spent with me, spent with my wife, spent with some of the guests that we have on here, that you maybe pull one little nugget of help from. If we do that for one person a day, I'm good with it. That's what my hope is. So then from the what, we move on to the who, what, why. Why am I doing this? So I have always naturally been able to speak in front of people, to speak in front of crowds. I have felt very comfortable giving speeches to people, young people, old people, all different types of people in different situations, military, pipe and tube mills, as the boss, as a student, as a coach. And I've always been comfortable doing that. So, if I have this natural inclination to want to help people, want to be a positive impact on people, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to talk to people. You have to be able to have conversations with people. You have to be able to sit down with people, look across a table, and get them to talk to you. And in this case, sit at this table, talking to the microphone, but really, more than talking into the microphone, feel like, I'm sitting in the car, or I'm sitting at the dining room table, or I'm sitting across from you at the desk while you're listening to the podcast, just having this conversation. I've always been somebody who I felt like I was easy to talk to. Hopefully you find me easy to listen to. You find the topics that we're going to cover helpful. If you don't find the topics that we cover helpful, or maybe you don't find the topics that we cover necessarily in your wheelhouse, send me a comment. Let me know something that you'd like me to talk about. Like I said, I've been around for a little bit of time. I've done a lot of things, and I can cover a lot of things. I got a pretty broad base, and then, excuse me, the why more recently is I've spent a lot of years of my life coaching young people. And most recently, I coached one of my ex-players who asked me to help her to get her program started. She wanted to go on and start a girls' high school volleyball program of her own. And she asked me to come along for the ride, see if I can help her get started, help her structure it, be somebody she could bounce ideas off of, be a resource. So obviously, important person in my life, a lot of respect for her. So yes, of course I did it. So fast forward a couple years after I do that, and we're at the end of the season, 2022 volleyball season. So our season finishes probably a little under what my expectations were for the wins-loss column, but far exceeding my expectations of the development of young people column. So one of the three coaches, there was three of us that did this, and the one young lady who asked me, the head coach, I'm actually going to do the interview with her tomorrow about coaching. So that'll probably be episode 2, is coaching young people and being coached and being the parent of someone who's coached. And parents, if you're listening, listen to that one as far as the being the parent of someone being coached. So it's the end of our season, and the one coach, Jay, terrific guy. I'm going to try to get him on here as well. He has a tradition where he takes all the seniors to a senior breakfast. He treats them to breakfast. It's kind of an end of the year thing to show appreciation and get all the kids together. So I was lucky enough that he invited me this year to join him at that breakfast. So obviously, of course, I said yes. And he also invited my daughter-in-law, Kimberly, my son's wife. Yes, I have a son who is married. Contrary to what you may think from this lavender voice, I'm not a young person, I'm not an old person, but yes, I do have a son who's going to be 20. He is married. His wife's name is Kimberly, beautiful young woman, and she accompanied me to the breakfast. And here I am with Coach Jay, who's just a few years older than I am, and we're in this small restaurant, small diner, the typical breakfast spot. And honey, it kind of reminded me of like a breakfast at Tiffany's / Middlesex diner, maybe a little bit bigger. So for everybody listening, it's like that typical hometown diner. It's not an Eaton Park, it's not a Denny's, it's not a chain place, but it's that spot that you don't mind waiting in line to get into. And there's no one thing that's great on the menu. There's 100 things that are great on the menu. So, that's the kind of spot we're at. And there's 7 seniors. There's myself, there's Coach